This week's channeled message from the angels is about a portal that's available to us now. So, welcome back to my channel, you guys. And for those of you who are new here, my name is Ann Tucker. I am a trance channel. I channel from the angelic realm. And I do that by going into a deep meditative state. And from that state, I raise my awareness up as high as I can go. And I go a little higher. I connect. And then the messages come through and I transcribe them and I share them here with you guys on YouTube. And this week's message, as I said, is about a portal, and it is a portal we can use to bring in more of our higher selves. They give us a lot more details about the role that we're playing in this ascension in terms of altering the collective consciousness, about this sort of mitosis of the planet, how it is sort of pulling apart the new earth and the old earth. A super interesting message. And anyways, I think it gives us some very practical steps that we can be taking right now to try to step into a fuller embodiment of ourselves here on earth, which is part of what we need to be doing. We need to be more engaged and more joyful in our life experience. So I hope you enjoy the message. And if you do, don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and please subscribe to the channel. Thanks a lot. So today's message, as I was saying, is about this portal energy. And a beautiful light came through for this message, beautiful angelic presence. And I'm going to go ahead and let's read it for you. And I'm going to give you the whole message first, like I've been doing, and then afterwards we can talk about it and break it apart and look at it in more detail. So here we go. They say, we speak of now, tomorrow. Henceforth, from this point onward, in all ways, all things will be different. Henceforth, your fabric of life is changing. The new tomorrows dawn in this opening. It is in this time of forgotten living, that past, unrecognized for too long, you move onward. There is purpose in this time, this dawning of humankind. The benefit to you all that comes, that arrives, yes, it is claimed by your humanness, by your very being in this incarnation. You arrived. There is nothing one must do but claim their own sovereignty in living this life in human form. To claim this life, begin it again now as it is received in this new morn. As things are changing around yourself, begin to listen within to what you are, into the housing that controls your life. The very beginnings you start from this source point within. Begin from here. To claim this life, to enter it now, to begin the powerful revelation of what you are, listen to the self. There is within your heart a portal opened upon this night, a space within which you can call down into your persons the next form of who you are, the next formation, what is forming, the beginnings of now. Call this in to welcome down, to begin the living in this new state of readiness for the ascension. What is this time to celebrate now? The celebration of what you are. Why now are you opening? It is only at this time, in these circumstances, that you're ready. Only now can you hold the dawn of your own beginning. Only now does it arrive and is received within, welcomed. You have within your housing a placement, a space within, created by the divergence of the two worlds in which you are placed. The separating has begun already. There is a pulling apart of the nations, of the peoples, of the circumstances, of all places and things, a separating, a divergence. And within this space you are letting go, leaving behind that which draws downward, pulls you, lengthens dispirited aspects of what you are and have been. Leave these in this new dawning, stepping into the now open portal to welcome you onward. We explain more. Yes, there is this divergence which is happening. You are aware of this circumstantially. You are aware of the pulling apart within each person, the divergence of place and country, the separating between peoples, how there is amongst yourselves a sense of friction, a formation of anxiety and tension. You feel this now amongst yourselves. It is a pulling apart energetically. There is this happening now beyond the awareness which you can compel, but it exists. It is an opening, a release, a final portal. the formation of this unleashing of what was, the heaving into the next dimension which you are welcoming in. The separating force, the tirade of energetic pulse which does demand its expression within you, the continual onslaught you have received from solar wind and expression that does compel the earth to divide itself properly, to pull yourselves from this dearth of reflection and to move you on into that next coming. It is happening, dears. It occurs within yourselves. Outside, on your earth, in your plane of awareness, it occurs. You see it not as we do now. You see not what is occurring. You see only what is happening amongst yourselves, this pulsing, pushing. Purposeful it has been to elevate you now, to move you into this next dawn. But now the time comes to accelerate your acceptance of what you are, to open yourselves and your housing to what is more of yourself, to take on in spirited living this essence this essence of yourselves. To be inhabiting this dawn fully, you must accept being alive. You must breathe more life into the body. Breathe more capacity for joyful expression of your divine light. Breathe in your own capacity, your essence. Breathe yourself into this time of expression. We invite you. The portal is now. It is opening. It is now arriving. You must divine within yourselves the orientation you would accomplish to arrive now higher than you've been. To be instilled with greater joyful connection to us, to yourself, to all things. To breathe on with more purpose, more joy, less effort. In this next arrival, as it comes, your perception will not be one of grandiose drama. No, instead you will perceive only the changing within, harmonious thought, calmer expression, divine sense of origin and purpose. You claim these with each installment of your own truthful essence. You claim these by right of birthing your own self into this incarnation. You become higher in your frequency, aligned more fully, more connected. And in this spirited time, as your essence thrives within the body, the connection you derive to ourselves expands, conjoins, and allows the effervescence to fill the hearts of all beings. The elevation of yourselves infects the lot of humankind and raises the vibration of all things. Allow this now, this temporal opportunity, the sense of yourselves as the portal for the awakening time. The essence divides. She who arrives, who pulls you on with her, she comes, she calms, she claims you. Go with her. We love you. So, right? Super interesting one, you guys. I'm telling you. Super interesting one. So, so this is all about today being 11/11/22, and it is a portal of awakening, and it is something really different. And they're telling us in this message how we can take advantage of this. What is our role in this? What is exactly happening? Like, what can we see and what can't we see about what's happening? And how do we work with these energies that are happening right now to help us and to become the portal, like we become the portal of this new awakening, right? So this is pretty cool stuff. And you're saying, as we walk within our field, our projections do unfold as we go along our path. I'm saying, awesome. Yeah. So, and they do speak to that, Mike. I think they really do. So, all right. So if you guys are ready, let's go through it paragraph by paragraph and look at this and look at the meaning, the deeper meaning. So here they begin, and they say, where they're talking about like, this is an important time. They're drawing attention to, we're at a place where there's going to be a split or a divide or a shifting, that things from this point forward, like what was is going to be what was, and this new opportunity is coming in. So this is a point of divide, they're saying. So we're at an important juncture in this whole process. So they say, we speak of now, tomorrow, henceforth, from this point onwards. They're saying, they're speaking up, like they're kind of putting a stake in the ground and saying, from this point on is different. They're saying, in all ways, all things will be different. Henceforth, your fabric of life is changing. The new tomorrows dawn in this opening. In this time of forgotten living, that past unrecognized for too long, you move onward. So they're saying, okay, the past is the tomorrow's dawn and this new opening in that, and what was in this time of forgotten living, like the time that we've been in has been this time of forgotten living. We've been living behind the veil when we forgot who we really were, right? That past in which we were unrecognized for too long, they're saying that's behind us. Now we move onward. So this is a shift, a big shift that we're making. Next paragraph, they say, there is purpose in this time, this dawning of humankind. The benefit to you all that comes, it arrives, or that arrives. Yes, it is claimed by your humanness, by your very being in this incarnation. You arrived. There is nothing one must do but claim their own sovereignty in living this life in human form. So this is big. They're saying that this opportunity, in terms of moving into this higher vibration, is available to everyone who's incarnated, that anybody who's here who wants to do this can do it, right? And they're saying that the benefit to you all that comes, that arrives, is it is claimed by your humanness. And so we know from, what was it, last week's message, they told us that this change has to come from within humanity, that the point of this is that we are trying to alter the collective consciousness, which is why we had that beautiful message from Yeshua last week, where he said that he can't come down and do it for us, that we have to do it from within, that it has to come from a million different points, that all of us are holding the story of our awakening, and we are holding that story and that reality, and that is changing the collective consciousness and opening the rest of humanity to the possibility. So they're saying that it is claimed by our own humanness. So by coming in and becoming human and being part of that collective, then we are part of what's going on. We're taking part in this opportunity to raise our own vibration, as well as the vibration of all humans. So they're saying it is claimed by your humanness, by your very being in this incarnation, you arrived. And I love this. There is nothing one must do but claim their own sovereignty in living this life in human form. So this is big, and they touch on this later in the message. We have to claim our own sovereignty in living this life in human form. And so what they're saying here is that I think, and we'll talk, they'll say it again later in the message, I think there is a real temptation for those of us who are on the path, and for those of us who are going through the process of remembering who we really are, right? Which is all of you who are interested in this message, that there is the temptation at times to have so much faith in what is on the other side, to kind of lean out of this life and lean into the next, right? To lean into what is on the other side. And there's a temptation to spend more time in that world than there is in this world, right? And so, and that comes from in every way. That comes from, in terms of how engaged are we in this life? How much are we enjoying this life? Do we see this as like a temporary penance that we have to pay before we get to go back to where the good stuff is, right? Like, how do we view this life that we're in? Is this something that we look at and we're like, wow, this is awesome. Like, look at what I'm experiencing here. Or is it like, oh, this is brutal, but I'm going to trudge it out, right? I'm going to bear with it because I know what's on the other side. And they're saying that we need to think about it differently, that we need to think about this, that we need to claim our own sovereignty in living this life, that we need to say that this existence is a sovereign experience, that this is that we need to be fully present and engaged in this life. And that's part of how we're going to do this, that we can't be leaning out. And I know it's easy to lean out because it's like the more faith you have, the more appealing it is to leave, right? And sometimes we just leave mentally. It is, how grateful are we for being here? How joyful are we to be here? And that's important. Like, that's critical, I think. And they talk about it more as we go on. And you're saying, it has felt like this, or that, that I was almost afraid to engage in this life. I'm coming out of my shell shock now. Oh, that's super interesting. And I bet you there's a lot of people that feel that if this is, it can be coming back to planet Earth, can be a shell shock experience. And I think a lot of us, even through just the birth experience of coming in. And here's an interesting point is that in order to retain your gifts when you came in, there is often some sort of trauma at your birth that encourage you to leave a foot in the spirit world. So there may have been something, it could have been an emotional trauma or even a physical, if you came in a difficult birth, or if you came in, there may have been something that was happening around you with the time that you came into the world, that you may have felt like, oh, this isn't such a safe place. I'm going to only come in halfway. I'm going to leave part of myself on the other side. So we have that connection, and we know there's some part of us deep down that knows it's way better over there. But we need to get fully engaged and realize how precious this time is. And there are certain riches of experience that can only be had here. And some of that, I'll tell you, some of that riches of experience is the not knowing what's going to happen. So when we're on the other side, we have access to all knowledge at an instant. Like we just know things instantly. And I remember the angels one time gave me a gift, which was to not let me know everything, but to give me the feeling of knowing everything. And they gave it to me for a couple of seconds. They gave me this feeling of knowing everything, of knowing my full life, of knowing what it would feel like to have a full understanding of everything that was going to occur in my life. And I had that awareness, not the knowledge, the feeling of the knowledge for just a few seconds, and then it was gone. And I'll tell you, it was terrible. It was a terrible feeling. It was like all the fun just like leached out of life. And it was brilliant of them to be, and of course, they can kind of do anything. So it was a brilliant way to give me an understanding of like, how much do you really want to know? And for me to know for myself, nope, don't tell me, right? I don't spoil it's like reading the last page of the book. And then like it takes a bunch of the fun out. So there is a richness of experience that we can have here. And part of that is the veil, is the surprise and the not knowing and the blundering through. Like we're in the game and we're living the game. And so that is a big part of the joy, but to see that as a gift and not as a penance that we're living through. And you're saying, I spent so much time going within and into spiritual seeking that I stopped engaging in regular joyful things. That is exactly what I'm talking about. I think that is such a common experience for those of us who are on this path, that it's very tempting. It's really tempting to try to solve all of our problems in the spirit realm, that we go in and we do our meditation and we do our manifestation and we start to work on things on the spiritual plane rather than coming in here and doing digging in the dirt to solve things. So we need to have a balance of that. Like, yes, we work on the spirit plane, but they want us to be like sovereign in living this life. Like, how do we solve things on the earth plane? Like, how do we get our hands dirty, right? It's just a different way of thinking about it, but it makes a ton of sense, especially as they go on here. And you're saying from last week's message, I got you must pass through me, Pisces. So I felt that to mean embrace Aquarius. Oh, that's interesting. Did I say, in reading that, did we talk about you must pass through me, Pisces? So I felt that in embrace of Aquarius. I'm not sure. I don't remember that part, Mike. I'd have to go back and look at it again. But okay, so let's go into the next paragraph. So here they say, to claim this life, begin it again now, as it is received in this new morn. As things are changing around yourself, begin to listen within to what you are, into the housing that controls your life. The very beginnings you start from this source point within. Begin from here. To claim this life, to enter it now, to begin the powerful revelation of what you are, listen to the self. Okay, so here and in this message, they give us a lot of very specific as you can be when you're talking about these kind of esoteric topics, but they're telling us what to do. So they're saying, okay, how do we do this? How do we claim our own sovereignty in living this life? They're saying to claim this life, begin it again now. So they're saying like start over, start now, like pretend like today is a new day for the rest of your life. And they're saying, and it, receiving this new opportunity through this portal. And they're saying, as things are changing around yourselves, which it is, things are changing all around us, begin to listen within to what you are. And this reflects on the message we've been getting over and over and over again, that through this ascension process, as we go through the chaos, they keep telling us to go within, that we need to be love in order to move through this process smoothly. So they're saying, as things are changing around yourself, begin to listen within to what you are, into the housing that controls your life. So there's two pieces to this. There's what you are, which is the soul spirit, the divine life that you are. And there's also the body, the physical expression that you are holding in this life. And the housing, the stuff that you're made of, in many ways controls your life, because all of the junk and the baggage and the stuff that we have is embedded in this, and we manifest from the body. So in order to manifest well, we gotta be embodied in order to manifest well on this plane. So the body, what we are put is this is the tool, and if the tool is gunked up with a bunch of our life experience, then that is what we're projecting out into the world. So here's what they're saying here is, as things are changing around yourself, begin to listen within to what you are. So that is the divine spark, into the housing that controls your life. So develop awareness about this by slowing down and starting to pay attention to who we are on the inside. So we need to get out of our habitual living, out of our patterns, out of the ways in which we are, on cruise control, and starting to notice where we are triggered. Pay attention. It's like doubling down on our healing. Notice what we are projecting into the world. Notice what's coming back to meet us. They say the very beginnings, you start from this source point within. So, and this is the beginning, like beginning from here. So this is where we are projecting our new reality. This next step into this new stage comes from that point of inside. To claim this life, to enter it now, to begin the powerful revelation of what you are, listen to the self. So yeah, definitely they're saying go within, slow down, pay attention to what you're feeling, and that's the guide, right? The biggest guide that I'm finding has made the biggest shift for me has been to try to let my heart decide everything. That whatever it is, I go in and I try to follow what is joyful. And that's from every purchase that I make, every choice that I make, I try to let my heart decide, and it's easy. All you got to do is feel into each option you have and which one feels the most joyful. And where the joy is, that's where you go. And it works out better. It really does. So, all right. And then here we go. Next paragraph. And it looks like one of you answered Mike's question. Thank you so much. That was great. Thank you for doing that. Next paragraph. It says, there is within your heart a portal opened upon this night, a space within which you can call down into your persons the next form of who you are. The next formation, what is forming? The beginnings of now. Call this in to welcome down, to begin the living in this new state of readiness for the ascension. So this is like, it is a portal. This 1111 is a portal opened upon this night. And I love that they say here, a space within which to call down into your persons the next form of who you are. So, and the space within, so this is an actual like energetic space inside of us that is opening. It's like creating space for us to bring in more of ourselves. So huge opportunity here to take advantage of this portal, to do exactly what to be more embodied, to bring more of ourselves down, to be more sovereign in this life, like all the stuff they're talking about. Yes, and you're saying follow the love. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how we choose. Follow the love. I love it. All right, so next paragraph. And they're saying, let's see, what is this time to celebrate now? So saying, why now? The celebration of what you are. Why now are you opening? And they're saying, so what is it to celebrate? They're celebrating us. They're celebrating humanity and our growth. Why now are we opening? They're saying it is only at this time in these circumstances that you are ready. So we weren't ready for this before. We had to get to a certain point. And I believe that point is like we have been through in this past, 2,000 years, through the age of, really, it's been a masculine energy era. It's been, and that age of the masculine allowed us as humanity to grow the systems that can support a more advanced civilization. And systems and structure and all those things are masculine energy. And so it was unbalanced, but we needed to go through an expression of the masculine in order to grow humanity to a point where we have a knowledge of science, that we have a knowledge of geography, we have a knowledge of the universe. We are, we can use tools, all this stuff, that we have the kind of technology that could potentially, propel us into space, that we can do all those things. And without masculine energy, we could not accomplish those things. So it is why now, because we're ready, because we have had this period where we've gone through a masculine energy era to raise us up in terms of our capability, that we are no longer, living, day-to-day foraging, that we have the ability to support a greater advancement as a species. So, and now we're ready to shift and bring in that balance and bring in the feminine to then raise us in a different way, right? But it's been this period that we've been through was preparatory to get us ready as a species to do more. So that is the time now. They're saying, so only now can you hold the dawn of your own beginning. Only now does it arrive and is received within, welcomed. All right. So they go on next paragraph. You have within your housing a placement, space within, created by the divergence of the two worlds in which you are placed. The separating has begun already. There is a pulling apart of the nations, of the peoples, of the circumstances of all places and things, a separating, a divergence. And within this space you are letting go, leaving behind that which draws downward, pulls you, lengthens dispirited aspects of what you are and have been. Leave these in this new dawning, stepping into the now open portal to welcome you onward. So they're talking about that they're starting to talk about that there is an actual separating, and they talked about this. There's a past message that had the word mitosis in it. It was something about mitosis. If you go back and look on the messages that we had from before, and they talked about that there is an actual like cells dividing, where there's like an old earth and then there's a new earth. And we are going through this separating as we're moving into the new earth. And so here's what they're talking about this, that you have within your housing a placement, a space within. So there's a new space created by the divergence of the two worlds in which you are placed. So in this process, there is the separating that's happening energetically, which we can't see, but we can feel it. And as the old earth, as you call it, is sort of separating away energetically, they're saying that, and we're seeing, by the way, we're seeing this divergence show up in all different ways, a pulling apart of nations, of people, of the circumstances, of all places and things. So think about the polarization that we've been going through, and the pulling apart of people, right? And pulling apart of countries, and pulling apart, there's all these ways in which there has been all this friction in the world, and all things stirring up. And that isn't to say in terms of the polarization of people, that isn't to say that one is good and one is bad. That is to say that action of that happening outside in the world is a reflection of what's happening inside of us each. And within each of us, we are pulling apart inside, pulling apart the projections and the biases and the negativity that and in all ways end up reflecting back on ourselves, right? Everything that we're projecting out in the world is really how we feel about ourselves. So it's just it's everything comes back at the end of the day. It always comes back to the self. So the friction that we see out in the world is really the friction inside of ourselves. It's us trying to shed ourselves of our heavy layers of our healing. So as we see it in nations and peoples and circumstances, it all comes back to self. So it's a separating, a divergence. And within this space, you are letting go. So again, they bring in the message, the angels bring it back to that us, what we are doing. We are letting go, leaving behind that which draws downward, which pulls you, which lengthens dispirited aspects of what you are and have been. So it lengthens. So think about that. Like think about past life influences and things from your childhood that you wish you didn't feel. Like I know you guys have some. I have had some and working through them now. Things that I know that it's a thing that I wish I didn't feel that way, and I try to shake it. You know what I mean? And It's those things, those heavy bits of ourselves that we are maybe aware of, maybe not. Those are those dispirited aspects that, and when we are in that heavier energy, it's like it lengthens those. It makes them more apparent, more difficult. So we're trying to leave those behind, right? And leaving these in this new dawning, stepping into the now open portal that welcomes you onward. So yeah, super cool, right? All right, and here we go. Next paragraph. We explain more. So here's where they were talking about this, and I asked a question. I'm like, can you go into that mitosis thing a little bit more? And they were like, okay, we explain more. So they say, okay, yes, there is this divergence which is happening. You are aware of this circumstantially. You are aware of the pulling apart within each person, the divergence of place and country, the separating between peoples, how there is amongst yourselves a sense of friction, a formation of anxiety and tension. So here's where they're bringing it back to us again, right? They're saying you are aware of the pulling apart within each person, the divergence of place and country. So this is saying you're seeing it into the world, you're seeing it in other people, you're seeing how people are agitated or angry or people are fighting. And there's this really raising up of anger in the world, right? It's bringing it all up to clear it. And so there is amongst yourselves a sense of friction, a formation of anxiety and tension. Lots of people have been saying they've been feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension. That is part of this pulling apart. It's surfacing up, and they're trying to pull it apart to create this space inside of us with this portal to allow more of our higher selves in. It is an opening, a release, a final portal. The formation of this unleashing of what was. Right, we're letting go of it. And I love that they say unleashing of what was, that it was tied to us, right? That karma is tied to us. It's bound to us. It's part of what ties us to the planet when we get here. If you're coming in and you're a really high vibration, how do we get down to this low vibration? We tie karma to ourselves. We are leashed to karma. And so it is a formation of this unleashing of what was, the release of our karma. I love that. The heaving into the next dimension. So this is not it's like whoosh, got to lift ourselves up and out of that mud pit, heaving into the next dimension, which you are welcoming in. And who is that? You are. You are welcoming this in. We are welcoming this in. We are the portal for this ascension, right? And they've been saying that in a bunch of different ways, that we are the ones that are going through the healing, that are altering the collective consciousness. We are in that way. We are the portal. We are the ones welcoming this in. All of us, everybody who is everybody who is on the path, anybody who is choosing to participate. Yeah. All right. And then here we go. Next paragraph, which you are welcoming in. The next paragraph, the separating force, the tirade of energetic pulse, which does demand its expression within you. The continual onslaught you have received from solar wind and expression that does compel the earth to divide itself properly, to pull yourselves from this dearth of reflection and to move you on into the next coming. It is happening, dears. It occurs within yourselves, outside on your earth, in your plane of awareness, it occurs. So here's they're saying, what is causing this mitosis process? Like, what is causing this pulling apart that we are going through? And they're saying a tirade, which is like a bunch of arguments. Like a tirade is think of it as like a stream of something battling, right? A stream of, so being hit over and over and over again, a tirade of energetic pulse. So repetitive energetic pulse. So I see this, and they say, which does demand its expression within you. So this is like solar energy, solar wind, solar, like the energy of that's been happening from basically from the sun that's been coming in and hitting us and hitting the planet, and solar wind and all this other kind of stuff hitting us and hitting the planet, demanding its expression within us. So it's affecting us and it's affecting the planet. The continual onslaught you have received from solar wind and expression that does compel the earth to divide itself properly. So I love that they're saying properly, because they're saying this is not an accidental thing. This is an intended thing. So they're saying where it's coming from, where are we getting this extra energy that we need to go through this process? It's from all this solar activity that we're going through. So yeah, it's happening, dears. It occurs within yourselves, outside on your earth, in your plane of awareness, it occurs. All right. All right, I still need to get some comments here. Let's go through. And you're saying, let's see here. No, not mixing it up. Where follow the love. It is the end of the 26,000 year cycle, ending with Aquarius. There is the 26,000 years. The yugas. If you look up yuga, is it yuga? Is that right? YUGA. The yugas. That's the 26,000 year cycle. We are currently at the low moment of the yugas and getting ready to move back up into a higher expression. So this process of ascension is there's sort of a 26,000 year cycle that we go through. So yeah, you're right. That is there. What exactly is the pole shift? I see you're asking about that. And you're saying, I've never viewed, so the pole shift, that is a real thing. You're saying, what exactly is the pole shift? Is the physical, will something earthly happen? So that's a whole nother topic. And I know that there has been a lot of conversation about this possibility that the poles are moving and the poles will reverse. And the pole shift, and let's go ahead and talk about it, even though it's not in the message. There is such a thing. It is a true thing that the magnetic poles can shift. And this has happened. There's scientific evidence showing that it's happened where, and you can see it in the way that the geologists look at rocks and people look at trees and all that kind of stuff, and in ice cores and all this kind of stuff, they can show that there have been pole shifts in the past. And we're in the process right now of this sort of, they call it an excursion, where the poles are wandering. The poles are always wandering. If you guys have ever seen that Tesla bulb that's it's got like a magnetic thing, and it's kind of going north and south, and then someone touches their fingers to it and it moves, and all of a sudden it shifts to over here, and then it springs back to the north and south. That's kind of how I think about it. But we have this, right now the poles are up here, and the poles are not like a static thing. They're not like a globe where you've got this rod that goes through the planet and the rod just, the earth just turns on its axis. The magnetic poles are magnetic, and they do sort of move around. And will we or will we not have a massive swap in the poles? Will it happen? It will happen at some point eventually, because it happened in the past. And it's happened it happens repetitively over time. And so we are overdue for it. So it could absolutely happen. There has been, in my own awareness, in terms of what the angels have told us, they talked about the earth rift, and they talked about the earth rift happening in the Indian Ocean. And then I saw that people who are looking at this from the science perspective are saying that if there was a magnetic reversal, that the North and South Pole would come together in the Indian Ocean. I thought, well, that's interesting. That's coincidental. So I don't know is the answer. Will it happen? Yeah, someday. Will it happen soon? I don't know. I have heard lots of different people saying that if it happens, some people say it would be devastating. Some people say it wouldn't. And all I know is that there is it's assured that humanity in our own way will continue on, and that we are meant to be living this life to our fullest, and we're meant to be investing in our energy and where we are now. So yeah, that's out there. That could happen. And I'm not that worried about it. It doesn't really concern me. Like, if I am meant to go on a giant tidal wave caused by a pole shift, so be it. That's okay. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think we are going to live out our lives, and we're going to have an experience here that we're meant to have, and we're going to alter the collective consciousness and shift humanity. And we know that there's a lot of devastating stuff coming. That is true. But I don't think we're all going to be washed away in a flood tomorrow. I don't think that. I don't feel that. And the angels haven't said that. They haven't talked about the pole shift. They've only talked about this earth rift. And they have talked about the earth rift causing tsunamis and tidal waves. But they didn't say it in such a way that the whole continents would be wiped away, which is what some of the pole shift people say. So I'm not moving to avoid a tidal wave of that nature. And I'm just not going to worry about it. So you can't worry about everything. Could we be hit by an asteroid? Yes, we totally could be hit by an asteroid. Could there be a massive, could Yellowstone erupt and smother the planet and kill us all? For sure, that could totally happen. I'm not going to worry about that either. So that's my approach to it. And I hope that helps a little bit. I can only tell you what we specifically channeled was, yes, they talked about the earth rift. Yes, they talked about 3 days of darkness, but they have not said that the earth would be covered in water. They have not said that to us. So yeah, so I hope that helps. I know that's not a concrete answer for you, but that's how I'm living my life, if that's at all helpful. And let's see, magnetic pole shifts. Yeah, I say, okay, thank you. I see people posting about it. Yeah, you're welcome. I hope that's helpful. And yeah, it is a thing. It is definitely a thing. And it's interesting I would say look at it if you are curious, but not if that kind of information freaks you out. That would be it's one of those things where if it happens, and there's nothing we can do to change it. So only look at it if it's interesting, but not if you're prone to getting worried about that kind of stuff. So, all right. Where were we? The separating force, the tirade of energetic pulse. So super interesting. Why is this separating, this mitosis happening? It's because of energy from the sun. The energy that we're getting to create this divide is coming from the sun. So they go on to say, from solar wind and all that kind of stuff. They go on to say, you see it not as we do now. You see not what is occurring. You see only happening amongst yourselves this pulsing, pushing. Purposeful it has been to elevate you now, to move you into this next dawn. But now the time comes to accelerate your acceptance of what you are, to open yourselves and your housing to what is more of yourself, to take on in spirited living the essence of yourselves. So this is talking about what is our perspective of this? How are we experiencing? If this really is if the earth is going through mitosis, how are we aware of it? Are we feeling it? Are we seeing it? Do we have any awareness of this at all? And they say, no. They say, you see not what is occurring. They say, you see it not as we do now. You see not what is occurring. So we don't have a perspective on that. We can't see it in our earthly sense. They say, you see only what is happening amongst yourselves, this pulsing, pushing. So we do see it as it's reflected in our reality. So all this energy coming up, all the anger coming up, all the violence coming up, this pulsing, pushing, that's how it's apparent to us. It's the surfacing of all the junk. Purposeful it has been to elevate you now. So we're saying this is all part of us raising our frequency to move you into this next dawn. But now the time comes to accelerate your acceptance of what you are. So, and that's what this portal is all about, is accelerating it for us. To open yourselves and your housing to what is more of yourself. To take on in spirited living the essence of yourselves. To in spirited living means like bringing in more of our spirit, of our essence, of our higher selves. And then the next paragraph, to be inhabiting this dawn fully, you must accept being alive. And I bolded that in my paper just to pause there. To be inhabiting this dawn fully, you must accept being alive. And it is unusual, I don't think we give full credit to how big of a deal that is and how important that is. And we talked about that in the beginning for those of us on this path. Like I said, it is, and I think it's a welcomed opportunity with this portal. If that was the one thing you did with this portal, was to sit down and ask yourself, how engaged am I in living, right? How much have I accepted being here on earth in a human experience? And how much am I in gratitude for this experience? How engaged am I in this experience? Am I looking at each day and saying, how can I get the most out of it, as if every day was precious? And I don't do that. I should be doing that. So I'm speaking to myself here too. I try, but there are days I wake up and I feel punky. You know what I mean? It happens. So yeah, so I could do better. I could do a lot better. And so I think if we use this portal and say, how can I bring in more of my higher self? By being more engaged in being here, by really seeing being here as the gift that it really is. They go on to say, you must breathe more life into the body. Breathe more capacity for joyful expression of your divine light. Breathe in your own capacity, your essence. Breathe yourself into this time of expression. We invite you. The portal is now. It is opening. It is arriving. You must divine within yourselves the orientation you would accomplish to arrive now higher than you've been, to be instilled with greater joyful connection to us, to yourself, to all things, to breathe on with more purpose, more joy, less effort. So that's the golden ticket at the end of this willingness to do this. Of the willingness to engage fully in life, to be fully present, to bring in more of that joy that we experience, to feel more joy on earth, then the benefit we get from doing that is less effort, right? More joy, less effort, that we move onto this dharmic path, which they've been trying to get us onto, right? We leave behind our karma, we move into dharma, we go into flow. Like, that's the whole point. That's what we're trying to get to. Like, that's the benefit of this. And it shifts humanity, right? Yeah. All right. Next paragraph. They say, in this next arrival as it comes, your perception will not be one of grandiose drama. No, instead, you will perceive only the changing within. Harmonious thought, calmer expression, divine sense of origin and purpose. You claim these with each installment of your own truthful essence. You claim these by right of birthing your own self into this incarnation. You become higher in your frequency, aligned more fully, more connected. So this is going on to say, like, what do we get out of this? Like, how are we gonna benefit? They said, this next arrival as it comes, your perception will not be one of grandiose drama. So it's not like the feeling of this ascension, the feeling of arriving is not going to be like somebody, like, you know, trumpeting our way in, or gong as you walk in, I am ascended. Like, it's not that. It's going to be that your life becomes easier and more beautiful, and you feel happier, right? It's a calm experience. It's not like someone's going to come in and give you a diploma that, like, you know, we made it, here's your diploma. Like, we're not going to get a diploma. We're going to get instead this, what they're saying here, perceive only the changing within, that we become different inside. And what that feels like is harmonious thought, calmer expression, divine sense of origin and purpose. And man, like, it doesn't get any better than that. Like, I don't need a diploma. I want that. I want harmonious thought, calmer expression, divine sense of origin and purpose, right? That's the goods. That's what we really want. You claim these with each installment of your own truthful essence. So that is the more that we bring in of our higher self, the more we have that experience of living on earth. So it really is that idea of, like, heaven. How do you create heaven on earth? We become it, right? You claim these by right of birthing your own self into this incarnation. You become higher in your frequency, aligned more fully, more connected. All right, next paragraph. And in this spirited time, as your essence thrives within the body, the connection you derive to ourselves expands, conjoins, and allows the effervescence to fill the hearts of all beings. The elevation of yourselves infects the lot of humankind and raises the vibration of all things. Allow this now, this temporal opportunity, the sense of yourselves as the portal for the awakening time. The essence divides. And here's what's interesting. They say, she who arrives, who pulls you on with her, she comes, she calms, she claims you. Go with her. We love you. So this is the last paragraph. And so let's break this one down, because they say some really interesting things here. They say, in this spirited time, so this is all about spirituality and our spiritual growth, as your essence, and it's also spirited, so a ton of activity, a ton of emotion. So it's spirited in a bunch of different ways. As your essence thrives within the body, so the more that we are in holding our essence inside of us, the connection you derive to ourselves expands. So the more that we hold our higher self, more of our full self inside of us, the stronger our connection to the angels will be, right? And it says, the connection you derive to ourselves expands, conjoins, and allows the effervescence to fill the hearts of all beings. So to conjoin is to join. So we connect to the angels. Our connection expands. It conjoins. So we connect to the angels. We connect to each other. We can join, right? And allows the effervescence to fill the hearts of all beings. So we connect to them. We connect to each other, and we spread that light from one person to the next. So that's what they're saying there. Right? The elevation of yourselves infects the lot of humankind and raises the vibration of all things. Beautiful. Allow this now, this temporal opportunity. So this is the temporal, means this time, like 11:11. This is the portal in which we have this ability to take more advantage, to bring more of ourselves in through this willingness to engage in life, through the willingness to accept this life fully and to find the joy in being here. This the sense of yourselves as the portal for the awakening time, right? That's what we are. We have to remember that we are doing the work of it by healing, by holding the light. We are doing it by changing. We're changing the collective consciousness from within. They say the essence divides, right? And then here's what's interesting. They change and they say, she who arrives, who pulls you on with her. She comes, she calms, she claims you. Go with her. So you remember in the beginning we talked about the masculine, the age of the masculine. Now we are entering the age of the feminine, right? She who arrives, who pulls you on with her. She comes, she calms, she claims you, right? So this is we are moving into the age of the feminine, and we're restoring balance. So we're bringing harmony, right? And they're saying, so she comes, she calms, she claims you. Go with her. We love you. So allow this divine feminine to come in through this whole process. We are trying to balance humanity, and we're moving into the age of, where we have divine masculine and divine feminine, both beautifully expressed for our own higher frequency. Yeah. Okay. So super cool. Let's see. You guys have a couple comments here. And you're saying, okay, thank you. I see people posting about it. Yeah, you're super welcome. And it is a real thing. Like this idea of the pole shift, super real thing. But we don't have enough. Like, we're supposed to be enjoying our life, not worrying about that. That's my attitude. And you know what I mean? So please see it from you. It's my human attitude. That's not channeled. That is my human perspective. So please see it how you want to see it. But I can just tell you, yep, it's real, but it's just not something I'm going to spend time thinking about. And you're saying, and thank you. I'm glad you like my response. We could be hit by a car. Oh my, it's so true. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we could worry about. How bright can I shine? Yes. One idea, perhaps notice a polarity amongst ourselves and within ourselves, sending love as we all get along with each other, as we will never all agree. So true. We love our differences of opinion, of perspective, of treatment of others, our differences with others and within ourselves. Harmony. Yeah, thank you so much for saying that. Absolutely. And how do we do that? Like, how do we, in terms of sending love to, like, we talk about differences of opinions and our treatment of each other. And I think that's one that gets a lot of us. I know it gets me when I see people who are cruel to other people. It really pulls at my heart. And my way around that is to remember that everything on this planet is in service, that this is a school and we are all having our own individual lessons, our own individual class. So I might see something and I might say, I don't know how I can accept that. I have to remember that everybody is playing. It's a dance that we're playing, and I try to remember that the people who came in, who agreed to play the part of, as we told them before, the schmucks, the people who came in and agreed to be the schmucks in your life, who have not been nice, the people who agreed to do that, nobody wants to be the schmuck. And so I try to remember that when I look out in the world and I see the really, really hard things. And I try to remember that that person who is doing that really terrible thing is a soul just like I am. And their soul agreed to come in and do that. And I might not like them. I might think that what they're doing is horrific. I might not want to think about it. Or I might do what I can if I am in the right place and I'm given divine inspiration to act. I might do what I can to change it or to help if I feel like that's the right thing to do. But then I try to remember at the higher self level that they are a soul having a journey, just like I'm a soul having a journey. And I got lucky. I got to have a beautiful journey where I get to channel angels, like score in the life lottery. You know what I mean? And they did not. They got the sucky thing. So I try to remember that. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Will it be more commonplace to speak openly about our origin? Will the full understanding ever be known to all on earth? I have heard it will be. I have heard that we will get to a place where people remember their purpose and they remember why they're, like, it will be. And I have heard that people will have real, and the angels have said it. The angels have said that we will have real experiences beyond what we have now. Like the people who are in my peace baiting sessions often have physical experiences of the angels during the sessions. They will feel them. They will have awarenesses of them. They'll have clairvoyant, visions of them. But I think that we will have tangible experiences of the angels that are like maybe it might be like you see an angel. It could happen. Like if the vibration of the planet rises high enough, it may be possible to physically see them. So I think and I don't know if that's going to happen in our lifetime or maybe later in our lifetime. I am not sure. But I think that, will it be more openly spoken about? I think yes. I think that we will go through difficult times. I think people will more and more be looking to find the light, to try to find help. I think they will be looking for you, for the healers, the channels, the people who are on the path, who have done healing, who know a way, right, to move forward. They'll be searching you out. And so, yeah, I think it will become much more open. And I don't know how exactly, like, will it be a moment when the veil is lifted, or will it be this process of us doing our healing, shifting the collective consciousness, and a gradual acceptance in the way that, like, meditation has become accepted and yoga has become accepted, when 100 years ago that would not have been accepted, right? That's a shifting of the collective consciousness, which is what we are trying to do at an accelerated pace right now through our own healing. And you're saying sharing love with one another, sharing with one another. And you're saying sending you all love. Happy to make it home in time for another live. So glad you could join us. All right, you guys. Thank you so much for being here with me. Happy Friday Live. Wish me luck. I think today may be my first night in the new house. Very excited. 1111 portal. Have a great day. Think about what you can do that's joyful today. What can you do to fully feel embodied and present and appreciate this gift we've been given to be here alive right now in this crazy, crazy time. Sending you guys lots of love, and I'll see you next Friday Live.